Um, Today we are going to get into 2026 numerology and astrology energy for the first quarter of 2026. So we're going to go over January, February, and March. Joining me is Douglas Macon, my astrology and friend for like a very long time now, decades.
We've known each
So
other for some time.
some time now. So we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna start off by talking about 2026's energy, and whoever joins in joins in. Now, and Douglas, make sure that you tell the people how to find you. Let's get into that first, so I don't forget. So if you want to follow Douglas,
Sure.
you can follow him on Boom. Take the stage.
THF11.com. It's the healing field .com. So you can find me there. You can find me on social media, THF11 as well. And you can find me just in general. Just type in my name and I'll come up in your Google search.
Sounds great. I'm also gonna leave his channel in the description afterwards. Okay. So 2026 is going to be a universal 1 year, guys. So one is about new beginnings, fresh start, initiatives, taking leadership, and rapid manifestations that are in alignment. When I mean rapid, I mean you'll be so shocked at how stuff is sped up in 2026. But 2025 was about cleansing and shedding, because it was both a 9 year and a year of the snake, shed and release, and it was more slower. 2026, it's a universal year one and the year of the fire horse, sped up. And a lot of you might be even feeling the energy starting off in December already. Like if you let go of some friendships, new friendships are going to emerge, or friendships that were kind of just hidden from you because others were taking center stage. Now that energy can recalibrate and be magnified, which is what happened between me and my Douglas right here. Some friendships were overshadowing that we didn't get to kind of fully emerge. But what's going to happen is your friendships and the things, or maybe jobs, places that weren't in alignment with your becoming, is going to
Mm,
be replaced with what you were becoming. Like more friendships that's in alignment with the business you want to open up, with the physical health you want to take on. So maybe you guys want to do something with your bodies, but you're with a bunch of people that eat McDonald's late night. That's just not going to be in an alignment with you for 2026. So go with the energy and make sure that you are not gripping on the things, because this is about new beginnings, guys. New relationships, new jobs, new being, new ways of being. So go ahead, Doug. Tell us a little bit about the astrology that's going to be going on energetically wise. Actually, for the whole
absolutely.
year, is that there's an energy? Because I just know my numbers. I'm not astrology as.
Yeah, you're on point actually for me from astrology, from an astrological perspective, because you're describing the year one, and that's giving the essence of Aries. So
Mhm.
Aries is going to be the center stage of the year. Fresh starts, new beginnings. So wherever you have Aries at in your natal chart, that's going to be most active throughout the rest of this, throughout the entirety of 2026, because it is a year one year. Within that as well, I really want to bring focus for folks because, Stacey, you had mentioned the whole year, in essence of the year one. And when we have each sign taking center stage with the sun, because the year one is a sun energy.
Yes.
So when we take that center stage each month, when a new sign enters, that sign is going to be center stage. So Aries is going to overall be at the center stage for 2026. But for each sign, they're going to get a glow up, if you will, when their time comes, when the sun circles into their sign. So, as an example, to kick off 2026, we're going to have Capricorn in center stage. So, wherever you have Capricorn in your natal chart, that's going to be super active and a time for opportunity for you. If when we move into Aquarius, for my Aquarian people, wherever you have Aquarius in your chart, that's going to be active. So this is a very 2026 is going to be a year of tangible activity for all of us.
Mm.
How I always say, grab the bull by the horns. that opportunity is going to be there for everybody. And it's just a matter of where the energy is at in your chart, because it's going to be, like you had mentioned, very fast, very speedy, very active.
That's interesting because that means I've been seeing bulls everywhere too, by the way. Like, I keep seeing Ram
Oh,
trucks everywhere and bulls. But that feels like a lot of energy. Aries are very
yeah.
fast moving. The one is very fast, and then we have the Chinese with the fire horse. So that means that
Mhm.
people have to be conscious of their energy. Not because you can go, 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 doesn't mean you should go, go, go.
That's the kicker. Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
have to
And
take
that's
the
the kicker.
conscious, yeah. Because I'm like, I've already feel like I can go, 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 and then drinking coffee to try to like keep up with the energy. But I'm like, the body's gonna tell you to relax when it needs to, so you can
Mm.
recoup yourself. Because the one energy is the Speedy Gonzalez, like, phew. And then you got
And I
Aries on
appreciate
the
that.
yeah.
Yes, and I appreciate that because I was actually just in conversation with a friend earlier today that we were having conversation about how truly the body keeps score of
Mhm.
what were our experiences are. And I think that that is going to be super active in 2026. We are going to be reminded to take care of ourselves because if not, will be reminded in a detrimental way. So we've really got to go with the energy of do, 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 but also do, do, do in a way that is conducive to our health. So it is a really big year for health interest, keeping up with health, and also looking at how our lifestyles are detrimental to our health. So it's super big of a year in that way as well.
Really? Is that with the
Yeah.
Aries energy?
That's the Aries energy, yeah, because it's
Oh,
about experience. It's about approach. It's about what am I going to engage in life with. And so health aspects we have to consider because the more that we're doing, as you had mentioned, we've got to take into consideration what we actually are embarking on. As an example, a very clear example, I failed to grab my water with me before I sat down, and I could feel it in my throat. And I think that that is the kind of thing that we all have to consider in terms of 2026. What am I doing, and how is it impacting me in my current experience? So,
that
on that note,
makes
I'm going to grab my
sense.
water and we're going to continue this. It's right over on the corner. I'll be right back.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense too, because I've been kind of putting my body secondary and the energy of like gotta do and get it out there and finish up these projects. But I started to it comes to a point where your body is just gonna say, no, you can't do this anymore. 111,
Mhm,
love it. And and that's been happening to me within this month, and I'm just like, I'm
mhm.
going to ease off of the coffee and just start to kind of just build on my own natural strength, and it comes from more rest.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yes.
rest, let me get into January. So January is kind of like going to be a nice little kickoff to conversation we're having. So in
Mhm,
January, it's going to be a universal 2 month in numerology. So for you guys with your business and career, two
mhm,
is a slower energy. However, we still do have the one energy overall and the Aries energy. But when you step in, and you're going to tell me how the astrology is for January, but when you step into
mhm,
numerology, two is about patience, making aligned decisions, alignment, and balance. So, balance is key. So, if you're going to put in 8 hours of work, put in 8 hours of rest, and
mm.
however that may be, however you want to do it, because you don't want to power through in January. You want to take and make aligned decisions and plan it out for the rest of the year. Also, it's a great month for partnerships. So, people in business, if you've been kind of flirting with some people this year in business in 2025, January is a good month for you to actually put that into alignment because retrograde is over. We'll be completely out of all of that. So January
Mm.
is a great time to line up and make some good partnerships and, put pace on that to see how it's going to grow in towards the future. But remember, it's a universal 1 year. So you want to make sure those are partnerships are in alignment and they feel like one. You don't
I
feel like
completely.
it's balance. You guys balance together, the yin and the yang, but it's going to feel like one, kind of like what me and Doug are doing, astrology and numerology, but it
Mhm.
feels like one. That's the energy of January. Also, have some patience with yourself and people, is what I'm getting a big sense of, because we're coming off of the 9 year. So, some of you might carry in some loads from last year. If you meant to quit your job this year and start something new, you carry it into January, have patience with yourself. But do put out the resumes to find the right job. If you've been in a position of, oh, I want to scale my business and I want to take on more projects and things, January is not the time to take on the new projects, but is a time to laser focus on what projects you really do want to bring. Is it the book? Is it whatever it is? Laser focus in on that in January instead of taking the giant leap right away. And when you
Mm.
do it that way, it's going to pay off. So tell me what's going on in
Ooh.
astrology in January.
So I can totally get behind that because the astrology for January, one of the huge pieces that's actually currently happening that's gonna really um lay over into January is the fact that we currently have Neptune going in direct motion in its final degree of Pisces, which
Mhm,
does suggest that we need to relax and we actually need to really experience the art of surrender. And I know
mm,
a lot of folks get very defensive about surrender because of any kind of perhaps traumas or oppressions that have happened in their life. But the idea of surrender as it pertains to Pisces is going to be huge in terms of rest, allowing yourself to surrender into self care, to surrender into ideas of, I need to put my own health first. I need to surrender into the idea that I need to self reflect. And Saturn is all about that discipline. So there's an opportunity in January for us to really capitalize on what does it even mean? If I'm doing all this activity, how do I recalibrate? And I think
mm.
that's the real huge question that's going to be asked of everybody in January. If I'm doing all of this Aryan energy of do,
Mhm.
how do I rest? How do I relax? How do I surrender and accept? Because if we're even considering the idea that we're doing all of this activity, when do we celebrate? And we've got to
Yes.
really consider that rest, that surrender in terms of celebration. And January gives us that opportunity with Saturn in direct motion in Pisces to be able to really bring structure and boundaries to when we get to celebrate ourselves and our achievements. No matter how small or how large, we get the opportunity to say, wait, I get a boundary to celebrate what I've done. So that's
Yes.
January. That's the overarching essence of January when it comes to astrology, because that Saturn in Pisces, I think if I'm not mistaken, it will, funny enough, Saturn will enter into Aries on January 27th,
Okay.
which again signifies that Aries energy, the year one for astrology. So there's a beautiful opportunity for surrender between now and January 27th, where we're going to cocoon ourselves and we're going to heal. But we also have the opportunity to reflect on, how do I create this boundary for myself for surrender for the rest of 2026? So as the things are going on, I get to channel out, tune in, and surrender to myself.
I love
And
that.
that's for everybody.
I love that.
The also the piece that I really want to bring to the table here for everybody, if there's one takeaway on my end for everybody today, I want to make sure that everybody is aware that we're leaving a 14-year cycle of Saturn being in Pisces. So we have an opportunity in terms of that surrender and self-reflection and chilling out between now and January 27th. We have an opportunity to also self-reflect on how the past 14 years of our lives has changed us. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
That's kind of cool because 1 year means like the reflect on a past 9 years that has been going on with
Oh.
you. Yeah. So that's, for example, I always tell people the last time we had a universal 1 year was in 2017. Now, what happened in
Mm.
2017? All right. Trump was
Mhm.
inaugurated in 2017. Would you not say that changed the trajectory of the last 9, 10 years
Yeah,
that we've been on? So
yeah,
1 years are extremely powerful. And you're saying it's in astrology as well, too. So this
it's
is
huge.
it's huge. And that's why you guys have to take some rest in January a bit. Not huge rest, but rest. Like, I
Mhm.
love that you just said the health thing because I was like, that's why I've been a little bit tested lately of like rest. Your heart's going a bit, just rest and come back to and
Mhm.
recalibrate. And so
Mhm.
it's a great time for people that usually want to do their New Year's resolutions for working out. I would say January is a good month to start to do that because you're honoring the body, and as you honor the
Mm.
body, you honor the mind too. But just
Yep.
don't be in the gym pumping for like 5, 6 hours and not giving the
Not
proper rest.
rest.
Yeah, the
Yep.
rest is so
Yep.
key. And because
Yeah.
of that, I don't know what it looks like in astrology because February is go time. So
Mm.
so
Okay.
with yeah. Because within
Can I
January is a 2 month, February is a 3 month. Three is ruled by Jupiter, expansion and growth. So it's more forward moving, expansion,
mm,
and creativity. Create. So if you want to think about what you want to create in January, February, implement that. Go to networking
mm,
meetings, do more of your social media. Think about what kind of social media you might want to market your products on. Or if you want to try doing an influence, which a universal 1 year is a perfect effing time to do that. Perfect time.
yes.
Then implement and do it in the month of February because it is creation, it's expansion, and it's growth, and it's the energy is more aligned. And so use January as a time to put your body in balance, see how much workload you can do without overexerting yourself, because it's going to be a big fluctuation for the whole year. Because, like I said, the year
Mm.
is a 1 year and it's ruled by the sun, so you're going to constantly feel the energy. Use January to get connected with your body to know what your body can handle and what it can't do. And then in February, have it a little bit figured out. Go ahead. You want to say something?
And so, Stacy, and within that, I actually want to piggyback off of what you're saying on that
Hmm.
because that energy of February that you had mentioned, which is very Jupiterian, also reflects that Jupiter is still going to be in Cancer, where it's exalted. So, February is an opportune time to really start to put things in motion.
Mm,
So, astrologically and numerologically speaking, we're aligned on that. It is a time to do. The caution, and I just want to check a date really quick because
go
I
ahead.
want to make sure that my dates are is specifically on point. But I think we do have a retrograde happening. Yes, we do. We have a
Okay.
retrograde
When's
happening
the
in the middle.
pre-shadow and when it goes to go into
Yep,
right and turn into AC
that
law?
pre-shadow's happening on February 11th. And the idea here is that with regard to starting things, like we're sitting in January thinking about the things, we have an opportunity from the 1st to the 10th to activate and do. And then we just want to take some caution to slow things down and to be more meticulous
Okay.
of doing the things that we are aspiring to do from February 11th until April 9th.
Dang.
That's the whole bounty of Mercury being in retrograde, pre-shadow, post-shadow,
Mhm.
heated. I'll just say right now, the heated version of Mercury retrograde is going to be February 25th and 26th. For anybody that follows me, they know that those two dates signify patience and compassion. We're
Mm,
going to need a lot of that because of that one Aries energy. We're all going to be hustling and bustling and a bit more impatient. And that retrograde of Mercury, it's only 3 times, but the fact that it is happening in a year one, signifying Aries, means that that Mercury retrograde each time it happens over the course of 2026 is going to be really potent because we're less patient.
I
So
love
I
it.
signify patience and compassion is the thing that Mercury in retrograde teaches us, and it's going to remind all of us of that during that this first quarter. So as we hustle and bustle, we do want to remind ourselves of that inward time that we had previously talked about, so that we can foster patience and compassion when Mercury naturally slows things down for us because we
Gotcha.
can get picky if we're not getting our way or if we're not getting things
Uh,
done in the way that we
yeah,
need or the
that's
speed that we want. Because fast, fast, fast. It's a year one. It's an Aries year. And I want to signify one other thing, Stace, and everybody who's watching. Um, the beautiful part about this being a year one, which is an Aries year, is that ironically, Mars is not going into retrograde this year. So we
oh,
have on our side passion, drive, the things to do. We're not going to be slowed down. But what we have to learn is when life naturally slows down, what do we do? How do we react? Maybe we don't
keep pushing.
react. Right? I mean, sometimes for some folks, depending on their chart, it's to keep pushing, while others, it's about maybe doing things differently. For others, it's about surrender. So, really, for everyone listening, if you would like a specific um, natal chart reading as it pertains to your chart in 2026, feel free to reach out to either one of us because we're going to be able to give you more, I think, zero focus guidance
Yes,
because each chart is just very different. We're all snowflakes. We're all unique, you know?
exactly. And being a life path number one, I know a thing or two about having no patience. So fact that that is the thing I wanted and I wanted now. Um, that's gonna be the energy of 2026. It's gonna be that you want it to show up as soon as you ordered your package on Amazon. Why is it not there the
Mhm,
next day? Type of energy. So you have to consciously take a step back because I know this because being a life path one, I have to check myself like, hey, you don't just get pregnant and have a baby the next day. It takes the months to
mm,
develop and process. And even though a lot of that processing happened in
mhm,
2025, a lot of people were like, you shut off the old kind of way of doing stuff to start to bring in the new. Still have some patience because you're gonna really want stuff quickly, and then the universe is gonna back you up because there's gonna be some points where you think something and it pops up quick because it's already been happening for me in December, and I'm just like, whew, this is just a taste of it, just a taste of what we're going into.
May I add to that actually, Stacey? Because you're saying that your life path one, and I just want to say to everybody listening and everyone who will listen in the future that we may all of us may learn from folks who are life path one in a really big way in 2026 because it is a year one. So
Mhm.
what you're doing now, Stacy, and what you're going to be doing in 2026 is going to be deeply influential on the rest of us because we're going to be able to learn what you have already learned. We're going to learn
Gotcha.
through folks like you,
I
you
love
know?
that.
And
So
that's
if I
like
were
the
to
spice of
say,
today.
oh, that explain. Okay, so that's perfect timing what you're saying going into March. So March, I'm going to give you.
Mm,
Okay,
mhm,
so the thing about life path one as well too is stepping into leadership. Now, everyone's not going to be a leader, but that's the kind of energy you are destined to be. Well, within that, it doesn't mean you have to be a leader and be on stage, but you have to lead your own life. So that is going to come up as far as you want to do this in your business, you want to do this in your career, and maybe your spouse or maybe a friend or family member is like, oh no, you can't do that. Why would you do that? And you have to take your power back is what I'm saying. It's a big power year, and going into March is when you're going to see it because March is a universal 4 month, and 4 is about structure, stability, control. When you have the energy of the 4, you want to micro control everything, so control issues may arise and may not arise within March depending on how you want to maneuver this because you're putting stuff in order. So, for example, if you're going to say you're going to make a new website and you hire a company to do your website for you, you got to make sure that you let that company know exactly how you want that website to be and don't let them take control over it and take your vision and make it into something completely different. You must control the situation in your relationships. If you find yourself that because it's going to be a little selfish energy. One is a very like, me, me, me. So that means everybody's about me, me, me. So if you feel in your household or something you're being taken advantage of, and it might come up in March because of that 4 structured energy, so households will be tested. you make
Mhm.
sure that your individual needs and power is going to come across. Like, let that be known without losing control and have everyone's voice heard. Okay. Because power struggles can be a thing, but it doesn't have to be. As you're listening to this, just take self-awareness of where you show up and how you can help another person as well too, without taking away their autonomy and taking away your autonomy. But you got to make sure that if you have a problem, you say it. Don't say, I'm not going to say it just because I don't hurt someone's feeling. That's not the energy of 2026 with the one energy. It's really not. It's just not going to work. So so, like, speak up and let your voice be heard. But March is great structured day. Puts structure month, puts stuff into order, puts stuff in structure. It's a great time to invest in some stocks. There's some crypto. Crypto might be popping off in March. I'm just saying that now. Let's turn back and see what happens, because it's amplified. Also, real quick side note, America also has its own life path number and has its own personal year.
Mm.
So America's personal year next year is a 3, Jupiter, expansion and growth. So if you're in America doing business, a lot of expansion and growth is going to happen. This year was painful. It was a 2 year, 2 years of slower pace, but 3 years in the personal year, it's going to be amplified. So look for a lot of new visionaries, a lot of new leaders, a lot of new influencers popping up on the scene in 2026. And see, I feel like February you'll see a lot more because of the 3 energy, but 4 you're going to see them start to like make their foundations and their messaging be solidified firmly. So in March, make sure you're structuring everything. It's a great time to put everything in structure, order, plan, look for the next 9 years what you want to do for your business, your career, and your life. Like, take a look at that. If you start working out in January, in March your body should start to look a little more sculpted, logically anyways, because it's been about
Mhm.
2 months. But that's really, if you keep with the energy, you will start to see the results, like effort equal in results. So let's talk about the astrology in March.
So the astrology for March is actually it's super similar actually to what you're saying. Um, the dates that I really want to highlight for March with astrology is going to be March 20th,
Let me write that down.
21st. Yeah, let's jot down some dates here. The 20th and the
20.
21st are going to be huge. Because we're going to have Mercury going into its direct motion, so it won't be out of its phase, but it will be in direct motion, which suggests activity is afoot. You're able to really move with the energy. It's not gonna be as slow or stagnant or difficult. March is tricky from an astrological perspective because we will have Saturn in Aries, so that's gonna require that discipline, that structure, and we're going to need to be able to really have a lot of patience with folks. Again, we're talking about Aries energy. Go, 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 do, do, do. Saturn is restrictive in Aries. So we're going to
Ah.
have a little bit of restlessness that's taking place. Now, that can be a good thing. Restlessness gets us activated to do.
Mm.
But if we're not doing, then that restlessness can make us irritable. So I really want to make sure that folks are aware of their irritability in March, because that is on target to really be a month where we can really express frustration toward ourselves and to others. In addition to that, we, like I mentioned before, we won't have Mars in retrograde, but in March, Mars is going to start to move into its sign of Pisces, where it doesn't work the best. So we may find ourselves moving about and seeing that our work isn't manifesting. So we really got to be cautious with regard to how we're approaching things in March. It's not that it's not going to be fruitful
Mhm.
by any means. It's just we have to work a little bit harder and we have to appreciate what we have. And I say that because Jupiter will be in retrograde in Cancer in March. And so what that suggests is that we've really got to remind ourselves of the blessings that we have as we're doing and trying to aspire for more. So it's just a check sheet reminder. I appreciate my breath. I appreciate the life that I have. I appreciate the journey. Because if I'm not reminding myself, we're all not doing that, then we lose sight of even what we're doing eventually. It's not a bad month.
I get what
It
you're
just
saying.
means more attention to the self and what the self has, so that when as the self is approaching for more, they're appreciating already what they have. So even and unfortunately, even if we don't get what we want, we'll still appreciate the life that we have. So that's a huge indicator for March, is that it's not necessarily a quote unquote bad month. It just means that it's a month of introspection where we have to look at what we have,
Okay.
so that as we continue to aspire for more, we're not losing sight. It's the
Because
idea
March
that
is a force building energy. I love it because building, when
mhm,
you're doing your building, it's not the house ain't done in March, but you're building
yep,
it. You're building it,
yep,
and you have to
yep,
appreciate the bricks, the
the
cement to put in, the
foundation, all of it.
foundation, and getting your
Yep.
hands in it. It's more like enjoying the journey in March
Yes.
and seeing the
March can
fulfillment towards the end is what I'm feeling
yes, yes, because
more
March is
intuitively.
March emotionally is on target to be a bit more stressful for folks. I'm just gonna be frank about that. It's on target to be a bit more restrictive. I know. Like, no one wants to hear that,
No,
but,
but I
I
said
just want
four is a
everyone to be
controlling
clear.
energy, so it kind of makes sense. Four is a controlling energy.
Yeah, it's
So what is
oppressive.
control?
It's
Can come with
oppressive.
restrictions. Like,
Yes, yes, and that's the Saturn in Aries. That is that moon activity as well on the 20th and the 21st, because the moon will be in Aries. So that 20th and the 21st, I really want everyone to be aware of their patience and their compassion, their emotional attunement, and their emotional intelligence. Because that 20th and the 21st of March, I'm gonna be frank between us, squirrel girls, as I like to say, it's not look it's spicy. It's spicy.
so you might
So
tell a
we've
bitch
gotta
go
be
fuck.
able
You tell somebody go fuck themselves, or like I quit, or I don't want to do this anymore. Type
exactly.
thing. Or screw the
Exactly.
website, delete it all. I don't want to do this. Don't burn it
Burn it
down.
all
Don't
down.
burn it all.
That's Aries energy, though. Burn it all down, and we've
Oh, and
gotta
it's a
be
fire horse
aware.
year too.
Yes.
Burn.
Yes. Burn it all down, and there's a temptation on the 21st, the 20th and the 21st of March to burn it all down. But that can what we don't want, and that's again what the takeaway from today hopefully is that we don't wanna shoot ourselves in our own foot.
Gotcha. And don't worry, guys, we're gonna start doing these. I don't want to say a weekly basis, but at least twice a month. We're gonna do this to
Oh,
give you guys
yeah.
updated so you can like
Yeah.
know when the energy is coming. So that's what we're gonna wrap up today with January, February, and March, and come back
Mhm.
after that time and give you guys the next quarters. But business wise, you have the instructions like we said. You want to do January's, have some patience and plan out, do partnerships. That is the month to start aligning with the right folks. February, go into action. It's more of a fruitful, but put the money since March is more building and that kind of energy and control.
Yeah.
Make sure that February is lasting, you know. Not saying you're not
Yeah.
going to get your harvest in March. It just may be a lot more in February, and
I
use
can
it
I
to kind of build in what you got to build out.
And I want to piggyback off of that, because that's literally what it's all about for astrology as well. The kickoff is that we build. We're starting to kick things off. We're going to feel the waves in January. February is going to slow down. We maybe get a little more irritable. March is going to slow down, and we're going to get irritable even more. So we just want to make sure that we're working on ourselves as we work on our businesses, because business only thrives when we are thriving personally.
Yes, energetically, yes, 100%. But I'm also going to say, keep mind. Oh, I'm like scratching my ears. Usually means like, listen up, guys. Keep mind from the number side. There will be big wins. I keep channeling big lump sum wins in February. Like, say
Mhm.
you have a big $20,000 week or something. Now the next week might go down to 5,000. I'm giving good numbers because we're over here, we're manifesting big time next year. Okay. Now just make sure that the harvest is going into the next harvest and not like ever in outer flow. because 2026 is a year to be in overflow. Manage it right and to be
Mhm.
overflow. It could also be a year where you keep flowing it and it just keeps going out because you're quick to spend and quick to do. So don't do that. Reassess that. So make sure it carries over because this is overflow year. This year in 2025 was just pew, out the door. Release, release,
Mm.
release. Here we're building up our new wealth because it's a whole year 9-year cycle, so you want to build it up. As far as like the way I keep saying is February as well
Oh.
too, is that's the tax return time, and I feel like there's going to be a stimulus to happen around that time. It just lines up. In
Mhm.
America, that is, that's in America. I feel a stimulus coming along. He's already announced that he was going to do a $2,000 checks. There's a possibility that it will come around February, is what I'm sensing. With that, that
Mm.
means for business owners, there's more spending going on at that time. But there's not going to be a stimulus
Yep.
every single month. That's, you get what I'm saying? So enjoy the harvest
Stacy,
when it comes.
I wanna piggyback off of that so badly because I think that it what you just said helped clarify what I actually was trying to say previously. It it's about resource management.
Mm,
February, like January, February, yeah, it's resource management so that when March comes and things do slow down in some ways, we have our resources
right.
together. And I think that's what you're touching on. And astrologically speaking, that's the same thing for February when Jupiter goes into retrograde in Cancer. That reminder of our blessings is also resource management. We don't want to
Gotcha.
burn. We want to look at what we've got and we want to use it functionally. So that's encouraged, especially for business, for anything really. What are your resources? How are we managing it? And I think that that's what the first quarter of, astrologically speaking, the first quarter of 2026 represents. There's going to be a large booms and gains. How are we managing it though? If you have a small business, are you burning too much money doing certain things for the business and you're not allocating that money for other things or a savings account? Like these are like real I just want to encourage people to take those real practical measures when it comes to 2026 because there are gains and boons, as Stacey had mentioned, but we have to be aware of how we're managing it.
Yes, like a squirrel. Be like the squirrel. Gather up your nuts, have fun. And so you're in overflow when you can't do that. And at the
Yep,
same time,
yep.
make sure your health is top notch because your vessel, your body, your soul dwells in your body, and if the body can't function and do its thing, then there's no money, there's no wealth. Like health is wealth. So January, kick it off. Start doing yoga. For me, I would say you guys don't need to function, but you might feel like you want to do high impact and running all this kind of stuff. But for me and my kind of thing, I'm slowing down and I'm doing more walking and more things that are more easier than my on my body and still getting the
Mhm.
results that I want without burning out. But a one energy would make you want to do a marathon.
Yeah, I totally love that because fire energy and astrology is all about locomotion.
Mm,
So we are, I didn't think about this until you said it just now, Stacey, that this year one is going to be about that kind of movement in terms of exercise. We're going to want to walk more. We're going to want to run more. We're going to want to be more locomotive. That's probably even the method that comes into vogue, if you will, for 2026 is that everyone's going to be hip to jogging, walking, power walking, because that is going to be therapeutic in a sense for us. I didn't think about that until now. And I just want to say to the room that, um, when we're talking about the therapeutic effects of walking specifically, um, it creates walking itself creates bilateral stimulation for us. So we're able to process our thoughts and our emotions more efficiently when we're walking. I often work with folks and we process anything from life and everything that life encompasses while they're walking because the bilateral stimulation. If you look up EMDR, it's a very similar or it's the same approach, that bilateral stimulation. And I just want to throw that out there in terms of support for folks who do walk, run, jog. That's going to be a target in terms of a therapeutic for us, especially when things slow down. What do we want to do? We want to move. We want to move things. So, what do we do when things aren't moving the way that we want? We may have to go for a walk or a jog. so that we can move ourselves, but so that our mind is also more efficiently processing what's going on.
I love that. And on that note, we'll wrap that up because that's delicious note to wrap it up on, because movement, mind, body, all connected. Because remember, it's a 1 year. Your mind, your body, your spirit. You want to bring it all cohesively. A nice little 20-minute walks a day is
Yeah.
yoga
Yeah.
movement's going to be great for it. So, guys, that's all I have for you guys today. Also, big announcement. I just launched my 2026 Numerology Daily Business and Career Activation Guide. So if you guys want to pick that up, it's going to be linked in the description. It's a daily guide to tell you every single numerology day, not numerology day, but every day by its numerology energy in 2026. So you know if it's a universal 1 day, if it's a day to go start new stuff, if it's a 3 day for creation, if it's a 4 day for stability, structure, move, you will be lined up with that and activated on a daily basis. Go ahead, check it out. It's going to be on Amazon, and we already told you how you can meet. You can reach out and follow Doug as well. It's going to be in the description, everything, so you can see them. So have an amazing 2026 first quarter, guys. I see you guys in next episode.
Yes.
Ciao.
You guys be great. Be well.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us.